Welcome to Shootin Straight. I'm Aaron, and with me is Todd and Annie. How's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Hi.
Doing good. Enjoying this COVID-19 stuff. I'll tell you what.
Awesome.
Are you?
Because of, are you?
Are you?
Kind of, but not really.
I love it.
Well,
I
that's
can
the
spend more
reason why
time with
we're
my
all
kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, COVID's the reason why we're on Zoom today, and so we had to resort to this different style of programming. But we hope that everyone still enjoys it and they're still going to learn from it. And jumping right in, as always, we want to start with our safety rules, our 4 core safety rules. What are those, Todd?
You know, first and foremost, you got to remember, treat all firearms as if they're loaded. Okay, I have a number of firearms sitting beside me here, and I check them at least 4 times to make sure that they're not loaded. And number 2, one of the firearms that I'm going to be using, keep your finger off the trigger till your sights are aligned and you've made the conscious decision to shoot. Okay. And this is something that I see in all my classes every single time. I just literally walk up to my students and I go, hey, finger. And what do? They put their finger straight. And that's really what we're looking for. Just keep that finger straight. Number 3, never allow your muzzle to cover anything you're not willing to destroy. Okay. And kind of what that means is where the bullet comes out of the gun, that's where you don't want that pointing at anything other than what you intend to destroy. Okay.
Yeah.
And then number 4, be aware of your target, its background, and its foreground. That's pretty simple. You don't want anything coming between you and what you're shooting at. And you want to make sure you know where the bullet's going to go after it hits whatever it's going to go through, especially if you're training. You want to make sure that once it hits the paper, where's that bullet going after it goes through the paper?
Yeah. You know, that's one thing I've always learned with my shooting that kind of covers number 3 and 4 is, you know, if you take your firearm and you pretend there's a laser coming out the front of this gun and it just goes on forever, anything that laser touches will be destroyed. So that kind of takes care of the muzzle and the laser and also the foreground and the background. You know, you got to make sure if you're shooting what's behind what you're shooting at.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You could have all kinds of over-penetration issues and everything too. So just some things to think about if you're actually going to send a round downrange.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
Cool. Well, thanks, for safety. And we always got to think safety. And today we'll be talking about how to select the right handgun. It's a great topic. Everybody's always interested in knowing what they want for their first handgun. So stay with us right here on Shootin Straight. Welcome back to Shootin Straight. You know, one of the most common questions I get in my gun shop is, what kind of gun should I buy? A lot of first-time buyers come in wanting to buy their first handgun. And a lot of times they need guidance. A lot of times they come in with a preconceived notion of what they should be purchasing based on somebody telling them what they should be buying. And really, it comes down to a couple different factors, and we'll talk about those. But I was going to say, Todd, you probably get that question a lot in the training that you do with people, right?
Yeah, literally, we get it. My partner and I, we joke all the time that people will ask us literally, hey, what's the serial number of the gun that I need to buy? It gets almost that intense that, hey, I need to know that exact detail of what gun I need to buy. And we simply tell them, hey, look, first of all, you got to decide what it is that you're going to be doing with the gun. You know, are you going to use it for just sporting purposes where you're just going to be target shooting? Are you going to use it for defense, home defense, concealed carry? You're going to use it for hunting. I mean, there's different variables that come into play for all that, and that it comes down to, what exactly are you going to use the gun for? Then let's get it fitted into your hand. For us, if we're talking specifically about the defensive use or the concealed carry use, you got to look at what caliber it is that you're going to carry. And I get this question quite a bit too. What about 380? Well, here's kind of the reality of 380. Most guns that they're chambered in 380, they're a very short barrel, and therefore it doesn't allow it to get the speed and the compression that it needs to have or actually do what the bullet's designed to do. So I get kind of little, it really depends on if you're using a 4-inch 380. Yeah, great. But if you're going to use a 4-inch 380, why aren't you using a 9 millimeter?
Well, yeah. That being said, if you look back through the history of sidearms, I mean, you'll see back in, the mid 1900s, if you wanted a small firearm, you had to carry a 32 or a 380.
Yeah.
There really weren't small 9 millimeter pistols. But, as you got to the end of the 20th century, manufacturers made more and more smaller 9 millimeter pistols. And so now if you can find something in 380, chances are the same manufacturer is going to make something either the same size or slightly bigger in 9 millimeter. So why not, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just having that extra punch for the knockdown power, it trust me, it's definitely worthwhile having that extra little bit of push coming out of the barrel for that 9 millimeter. There's a bunch of different rounds that are out there. You can do the 9 millimeter. The FN57 is starting to make a big hit right now. 38 special, still a great round. 357 Magnum. And then for the old school guys, there we go, Aaron. Yeah, let's show that up real quick.
Yeah, let me show you a couple different rounds here because, we're talking about a couple different rounds. The first one right here is the 380. I mean, you can see it's pretty minuscule compared to what else you got here. You got a 380, you got a 9 millimeter, you have a 40 Smith & Wesson. This is the 45 ACP. Here you have a 38 special. You have a 357 Magnum. You have a 44 special. And here's our good old 44 Magnum, the Dirty Harry special. Am I feeling lucky? Or are you feeling lucky, punk? Yeah. Something that's really cool about some of the larger revolver rounds is unlike handguns, the semi-auto guns, the revolvers, you can sometimes shoot multiple, calibers or loads through those handguns. So if you say you have a 357 Magnum, you could shoot 38s through it. If you have a 44 Magnum, you can shoot 44 specials through it. It's a great practice round. It's a little cheaper, a little less kick, and it gives you a little bit of variety.
Yeah, in 1990, when I was issued my first revolver, my first handgun, it was a 357 Magnum. We practiced with 38s and shot 357 Magnums for carry.
Yeah,
it's just kind of one of those regular things that we did. A lot of this stuff comes down to too, like, do you want to? Are you going to be using it for specifically home defense? So it's just going to be in a nightstand, in a locked safe, or is it going to be something where you're going to be carrying it on your body and on your person all the time? For me, I don't walk outside the house without some type of a gun on me. I generally it's a Glock 19, but sometimes it's a 17, depending on the apparel that I'm wearing. Sometimes it's just my little shield, and there's a distinct difference in the sizes of those two. And a lot of it just comes down to what it is that I'm wearing. So I'll carry that specific gun based on what it is that I'm wearing and where I'm going for that day.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Annie, being a gal, it's a lot harder to conceal a gun on you, isn't it?
It is a lot harder to conceal. You have to get kind of tricky with leggings and other stuff because I like to appendix carry when I'm conceal carrying, and girls' jeans, they don't have that length that guys do. So you're either on the side or the back, and chasing my kids and stuff, it's easier for them to see my gun when I'm trying to conceal carry. But I was going to say my first, when we went in to get my first gun, it was Valentine's Day. And my husband just put a Glock 19 in my hand, and he was like, here you go. I want you to learn how to shoot with this caliber of a gun, nothing smaller. Of course, he's like, if it doesn't fit your hand, that's one thing, but he just has grown up with guns, and he's like, if you're going to conceal carry and protect our kids, this is the size you need. So that was it for me as far as like choosing a gun to conceal carry. It's just always been my Glock. So and I like it. I like it.
Yeah, we sell a lot more semi-automatics than we do revolvers. but there's
Oh,
still
yeah.
a good place for revolvers. In fact, I still a lot of times carry a good old 38 in
Oh
it's
yeah.
a 5-shot 38. It's light, it'll fit right in your pocket, and it's simple. And especially for somebody who's a first-time shooter or somebody who's not familiar with you know, the process. If you have a misfire and a semi-auto, a revolver is a great option because if you have a misfire, you just keep pulling the trigger and it goes right
Yep.
to the next cylinder,
Yep.
the next chamber. And what's really cool too about revolvers now is you can get revolvers in 9mm. So this is a 9mm revolver. So if you have a lot of other 9mm handguns or even you know, rifles, why not combine or consolidate your calibers? You know, granted, you'll have to use a moon clip. You can't just put them
Yeah.
in loose. But you know, there's a lot of great options when it comes to revolvers. But semi-autos really, we probably sell 10-1, easy, maybe more than
Yeah.
that.
So Aaron, you don't sell these anymore?
Right there, baby.
There you go. Outstanding. These are actually
Yep.
speed loaders. We
Oh,
actually
that's
carried
cool.
3 of these. If you were really tactical, you carried 3 of these on your belt back in the 90s.
Yeah.
That
That's
or
cool.
then we also carried these speed strips.
Yeah, those are great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
speed.
can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
I know we're talking about handguns for like concealed carry and home defense, but honestly, for my home defense, I go for an AR-15. That one's my choice. The bigger, the better for me. They're easier to shoot.
Something like that.
If I could conceal carry an AR-15 magically, I would, because those guns are they're my favorite.
Hey,
But
we can set you up with a
anyway.
little shorty if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen barrels as
Let's
short
try
as
it.
3 inches on ARs, but
All
you
right,
can do it.
Aaron, I'll be in a little
Yeah.
while.
Actually, Todd and I were out trying to sight in my 7.5 last week, and it wasn't too fun at 100 yards, but we got
No.
it.
Well, my birthday's coming up, so
There you
hey.
go. Come on in. You know, one thing that's nice too about handguns, especially like if you really can't decide what style, if you want it for, you know, for target shooting, if you want it for carry, if you want it for home defense, you know, there's several styles out there where like this is a SIG P320. But what's really cool about this is it's modular. So you can buy different size grips for it. So
Oh,
this
that's
one's
cool.
got a full size on it, but then you can put a compact on for when you want to carry. So
Yeah.
you'll have a shorter, you know, grip,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll still have the full length. And these modules are only like $40. So
That's cool.
you buy this gun, and then for another $40, you can have a compact.
You got to change. You have to change the magazines that you have then too. You have to have a shorter magazine then too, right?
Yeah. So like for this one, we have one short magazine, but then you can still use the longer magazines from the large gun. They're just going to stick out. But for the one
Okay.
magazine you want to carry, then you have the short mag in it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
pretty
like
cool.
one of my personal favorites, good old Colt Python. You know, when you
Nice.
grab a hold of this thing, it's one of those things where, again, keep your finger straight. Okay, you're not putting it in the trigger guard. However, it's a slightly different grip, so I'm going to change to a left-handed grip so everybody can kind of see here. Okay, when you
Mhm.
grab a hold of the revolver, instead of having your thumbs up like on a semi-auto like this, you actually cross your thumbs down like this, and that actually helps lock the gun in just a little bit better, so that you can get a little bit more accurate shot. You know, so something to kind of think about. There's different shooting styles from that to if you're going to a semi-automatic pistol. You know, so if I'm going to grab on a semi-automatic pistol, my thumbs are going to be forward like this here. So just a couple different things that you need to kind of think about as you're working and deciding what it is that you want to concealed carry. You know, like that
Yeah.
little 38 that you showed us earlier that that you found or somebody brought in today. I'll tell you what, that thing would be a great little gun for concealed carry gun. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
It's a mid-size frame 38.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure
I also,
it'd be pretty easy to find it on Annie, but a guy my size, it'd be pretty easy to conceal.
yeah.
I don't know. I can get tricky.
Yeah. I
That's
also
true.
brought it. I brought in my wife's gun here. So
Oh.
this is a 357 Magnum. When we practice, you know, we shoot the 38s through it, but it came with a short grip. like the 38, which it's a little harder to control when you're shooting a revolver with a short grip. So we put a longer grip on it in pink, which was nice.
Pink.
Yeah.
In
So, and where my wife really doesn't shoot, a revolver is a perfect option for her because she doesn't have to learn how to manipulate, the magazine release, the slide release. If she has a malfunction, she doesn't have to figure out how to clear it. She can just keep pulling that trigger.
Yeah, that's more of just a point and shoot, and you're done.
Yep. Yep. Cool.
So another safety thing that I like is, doesn't matter what you conceal carry, just train with it first. So that if you're going to go out and about and have a gun on you, you're going to be responsible for that gun, but you better have trained first with it before you carry it on you.
And make sure you shoot the loads you're going to carry, because a lot of people will buy the cheap ammo and shoot that. They'll buy a nice expensive box of defensive ammo and they'll never shoot it. You've got to make sure your pistol likes to eat that stuff, because some pistols don't.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a lot in my world, where guys are running their training ammo, and then the next thing you know, they're trying to shoot their carry ammo, and they're getting nothing but clicks because it's a much more precise round, and it's set in there just a little bit deeper into the chamber, and their chamber's out of spec, or it's just plain worn out. So you constantly need to be checking that to make sure that you're going to be able to fire your carry ammo or your duty ammo.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of agencies, all they shoot is duty ammo, because that's what they learn with. So,
yeah. When we were on the teams, I mean, we pretty much always used carry ammo, but at some point in time, you've got to be able to check it to make sure that that's exactly what's going to work in your gun, especially if you're carrying it to save people's lives.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, this has been a lot of great conversation, but we've got a lot more to cover. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We just spoke about a lot of different types of handguns and, what to look for in a type of handgun. But next, we're going to need to talk about what are the skills you're going to need. How are you going to be able to handle that handgun? What are you going to do with it? Todd, you want to take us through that?
Yeah, first and foremost, you need to decide, what's your dominant hand. For pretty much everybody, well, majority of the world, you're right-handers. So that's going to be your dominant hand. If you're a left-hander, there's going to be certain guns that just are not going to work for you. And it's just because they've been set up to be in a right-handed world. One of the things I'll kind of show you, Smith & Wesson, Model 66. It's actually my first issued carry gun. There's a little button right here. That's what actually push that, and it opens the cylinder so that you can actually clear it and make sure it's empty, do all your manipulations to reload it and all that kind of stuff. So that's something you need to kind of start to think about, being a right-handed or a left-handed shooter. What's going to fit in your hand. First and foremost, let's make it real simple. My Glock 17, okay? First and foremost, get a nice firm grip on it, okay? It doesn't have to be something where you're squeezing it so hard that it's sitting there shaking back and forth. It's just a firm grip. I kind of tell people it's more of like a good firm handshake. Everybody knows what a firm handshake feels like. Not that wimpy little thing that you go, wow, okay.
A dead fish.
The dead fish handshake. There's nothing worse than that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to get a nice firm grip on it. Okay. And you notice you keep your finger straight and alongside the frame. Okay. That way, no boo-boos, no owies till you're ready to shoot. Your sights are aligned. Then get your finger in there, go do what you got to do. Okay. I'm going to switch hands just so that it's easier for people to see what's going on here. So as you grip, you're going to come in here. We want to try and keep the radius in our ulna and the pistol itself lined up. Let's see if I can kind of get that on camera so that the bone structure and the slide actually line up. So the closest you can get that, the better. Now what we want to do is keep our thumb up. Now, this support hand is going to come up underneath here, and it's going to fill in all this gap right here. And we're going to use this meaty portion of our thumb to come up in here and just wrap our hands around. You notice my index fingers coming underneath the trigger guard. Okay. And then my thumbs are forward. And then I can press the gun all the way out, line my sights up, press the trigger, bang, 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 do what I need to do, and then bring it back. What you need to do when you're doing that is make sure that you can reach all the controls that are on the gun. Okay. So the slide release, okay, you can reach the trigger, okay, and also the magazine release. There's a couple other options that are out there. Some semi-automatic guns, like if we go with one of my old carry guns, on a SIG, they have another button here. That one's called a decocking lever. So you need to make sure that you can actually reach that control on top of your magazine release, okay, and your slide release. So the slide release is way back here on this particular gun. That's why it becomes so important to actually go through and handle as many guns as you possibly can. You know, one of my personal favorite guns are 1911s, okay, but they have a grip safety back here. If you don't engage this grip safety, there's nothing that's going to happen with this gun. However, there's also mechanical safety right up here that you need to be able to depress to make sure that you can press the trigger. Okay, so you need to make sure that you can hit those controls and those there. Looks like you're holding an M9 right there.
Yeah, so we've got a Beretta M9 here, and again, just like we're talking about, different handguns vary. Like this one's a double action, single action, and it has a manual safety on it, but it's also a decocker as well.
Yes.
So when you engage the safety, it decocks the gun.
Yeah.
So you'll need to re-engage the safety in order to fire the gun.
Yeah, and on that safety, you flip it up.
Correct.
You know, and on 1911s, you flip it down.
Yep.
You know, so it's just one of those things where you need to know and understand which movements can actually make the particular gun that you're going to be carrying or the one that you're going to be using. You got to make sure that you understand how those all work. There's a bunch of different places you can do all that kind of stuff. You know, seek professional help. You know, that's just go see another trainer. You know, kind of another thing to kind of push back just a minute on revolvers. Go with Colt Python. Okay, one of my favorite handguns or favorite revolvers. I'm going to go left-handed so everybody can see here. So I've got a nice firm grip on here, finger straight alongside the frame. Okay, then I'm going to take up that same area there, come underneath the trigger guard. Okay, but this time I'm actually going to cross my thumbs over like this here, because what that's actually doing is it's actually locking the gun down. You can see, if I can tilt it a little bit more, you can see how it's pulling on my strong thumb to lock the gun in so that it can help mitigate recoil. It's just one of those cool things that when you talk to professionals and learn from professionals that you're going to pick up those type of things. And like if we have our thumbs forward like we do on a semi-auto, you see my fingers right by my thumb is right up by the cylinder. Well, there's little tiny shards of projectile that come through the forcing cone as it comes out of the cylinder as the bullet goes off. Don't want your thumb anywhere up near that because that hurts. Okay? We don't want to cause damage to our bodies. You know, just some things to kind of think about. You know, what I've also noticed, if you go and you talk to your local gunsmith, you go to talk to your local gun store, just about everybody is willing to help you out with it, to at least learn and understand how to handle a gun. When it comes to your particular gun, get professional help and make sure that you know and understand everything about it.
Yeah. You know, and like we mentioned before, you know, what feels great in your hand is probably going to be what you shoot best with. And,
right.
You know, whether you're a lefty or you're a righty, you've got to make sure you can reach all the controls. You know, some guns will have a reversible magazine releases or an ambidextrous slide release.
Yeah.
But it's really critical that you choose the best gun for you. I wouldn't let anyone tell you what you have to get. You know, there's a lot of people with very strong opinions in the gun world. SIGs are the best. Glocks are the best. You know, you got to get yourself a 1911. You know what? It's your decision. It's your gun.
Yep.
Get what you shoot the best with. You know, go to some ranges. A lot of ranges will have a rental fleet. You know, you can go to those ranges. You can pay X amount of dollars, and they'll probably let you shoot several different handguns to see what you shoot best with. Or go out with some friends. who have different guns and, shoot their guns and see what you like. It's
Oh, yeah.
really your choice. It's up to you.
Yeah, and a lot of the gun stores that I've dealt with across the country, if you go in and you rent a gun and then you're going to purchase a gun, they'll actually apply that rental use or that rental fee towards the actual purchase of the gun. So
Definitely.
you're really not losing any money. Just talk with your gun store and just ask them, hey, can I go out and shoot this, or do you have one that I can shoot that's similar to this, or and a lot of times they have that stuff ready for you to go.
Yeah, yeah. And really, and the last thing we should probably talk about is cost. There's some very inexpensive handgun brands. There's some very expensive handgun brands. But for a first gun, you should probably get something, would be in my guess, somewhere between the $300 to $500 range would probably get you a pretty good solid gun. I mean, if you have a couple extra bucks, spend it on the gun. But anything less than about, sometimes you'll find things on sale. Like, we've got some great, Ruger single stack 9mm for around $250, which it's a great gun. But I really wouldn't go more, cheaper than that, just because you're going to end up with something that possibly breaks, something that you can't find parts for. The more you spend on a reputable gun, the more you're also going to be backed up by a warranty and by the manufacturer. If those guns break, a lot of manufacturers have a lifetime warranty. You send it back to the factory, they'll fix it. If they can't fix it, they'll send you a new gun. It's that simple. Yeah,
I tell people all the time in classes, hey, listen, if you're buying a new gun, buy the best quality you can afford. Okay.
Yeah.
And you will not be unhappy. I guarantee that. That's definitely the truth.
There's a lot of great police trade-ins too. I mean, you can get police trade-in Glocks all day long. You can get Berettas all day long. You can get SIGs all day long.
Yeah.
If you can't afford a really nice new SIG, get a trade-in. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of times they have warranties.
Yeah, my little Shield right here, that thing, that was a police trade-in, and it's a little small for my hand, but I'll tell you what, it works. Definitely works.
Yeah.
And it was a great price at the time, and that one had hardly ever been shot. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good deal for me. Let's do that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we've spoken about a lot of different topics. We've really, covered a lot of different things about handguns. And so I really recommend, you as the viewer, watch this show several times, because you really need to pick up on a lot of the things that we've spoken about, because it's all pretty important. The safety aspects, how it's going to fit your hand, how you manipulate it. But there's also a lot of things we haven't spoken about, is holster selection. How do you conceal carry? But those are going to be coming up on some future episodes. So that's going to be really exciting when we get into that.
Because you can get crazy stuff like this.
There you go.
Wait, awesome. Will you show that again?
Yeah, let's see that.
Is that donuts?
That's donuts. And if
I like it.
Being retired law enforcement, I think that's absolutely hysterical.
I think even if you're not retired law enforcement, that's amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, the manufacturer of that one, actually, they did one in with a bunch of toilet paper rolls on it too. It was absolutely hysterical.
That's awesome.
That's great. Guns are definitely fun. That's for sure.
That in our next show, I'm sure.
Yay.
Yeah, that's great. Well, hey, thank you everybody for watching, and as always, keep it shooting straight.
Stay safe, everybody.
See ya.